of the Python basic concepts? Yes or no? Please come up with your replies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. If you are having any kind of doubt, अगर आपको कोई doubt आता है तो you can definitely ask me by raising your hands. Okay, and meanwhile, let's explore some more concepts in Python technology. Okay, so let me open a folder. Okay, so in my D drive मैं एक फोल्डर बनाने जा रहा हूँ एंड उसी फोल्डर में हम अपने पाइथन के
Hello,
प्रोग्राम्स को
sir.
क्रिएट करेंगे. यस.
Sir, okay. Hello, sir. I'm Rahul Verma, the student coordinator of this event, Kaushal,
Okay,
and this
okay.
workshop. So, sir, we will be taking a 2 minute of wait, and then we will can start because there are some participants as well. These are not joining with the correct link, so they will be waiting for that. I will be let you know within a
Yeah,
minute,
sure,
and
sure.
then we can start. Okay. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
okay, sure,
Yeah.
Rahul.
Okay. Participants, hello everyone. Please join with the other link. Please leave this meeting with this link. I will be sharing some other link to you so that because this is not the link to join the session with your name because the link will be showing my name in every participant. So please leave this link and I will be sharing the other link and join with that link.
मैं घर तक पहुंच तो जाऊंगी ना
यार तुम लोग
Yes, Rahul, are you
Uh,
there?
yes, sir. I'm here. I will be start. We will be starting the session within a
Okay,
minute.
we have to
Um,
stay on the same link, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay, sir. I will just
Yeah,
let you know.
sure, 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 sure.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Rahul, we can start.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile,
Sir,
student
like
will join the session.
sir, there are only 6 participants joined. We will be wait just for 2 minutes because we just shared the link, updated link, so that they can join join with the like huge amount.
Okay,
I will. Yes,
but do
I'm.
not delay more
No, sir.
for
I'm
more
not.
than
I'm not. Yes, sir. Uh, Hello everyone. Good evening, all of you. I'm Rahul Verma, the student coordinator of Kaushal 4.0. We will be welcoming you all of in this Python workshop. And first of all, I will introduce you about the Kaushal. Kaushal is a national level conclave which is be organizing by Sri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya every year from last fourth year. So this is the fourth version of the Kaushal. So we will be calling it 4.0. Also, I am inviting Mr. Abhishek Purohit sir. He is the trainee in universal informatics from having a very good experience in different technologies, including React front-end development, back-end development, Python development, and he also did some certificates in Microsoft as well. So he's a very good trainer in the universal informatics. Welcome you, sir. So, sir, you can start the session, and we will be great to have you here. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Rahul, thanks a lot. Okay, so let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible to all. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, so in last session, you might have seen some of the basic concepts of Python programming, like how to create a Python program, how to create variables, and how to display them. Okay, so just give me a thumbs up if you are having these kind of topics explored in the last session. Yes or no? Have you guys studied these kind of concepts like variables and if-else statement? Yes, please respond. I'm waiting for your response, guys. Otherwise, I will consider that you are having experience in like how to create a Python program and how we are going to create some variables. Yeah.
Yes, sir. There students can only answer you on the chat section because they are attending as a attendee. So they can only answer you in chat, sir. Because we will be having one session yesterday in which Ekta ma'am can introduce the basic introduction about the Python and the condition statements in Python, like if else. So you can start after that, or like if you have anything else, then you can start your own, sir.
Okay, sure. That's what I'm asking, that if these concepts are being there or not. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now I'm
Yes.
totally ready.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So let me create a folder, and in that folder, we will create all the Python programs. Okay. So I'm just creating a folder, and I'm naming that folder as Python workshop as triple V. Okay. So now inside this folder, I'm going to create a file, and we have to keep the extension of file as .py in order to create a Python program. Okay, so I'm creating a file app, and just name the extension as .py. And you can use any IDE to open this kind of Python file. For this session, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. Okay, so now let's open Visual Studio Code. Okay, let me open that VS Code first. Okay, so we are having this Visual Studio Code open into our system, and now you can directly open your folder in which we are going to create our Python files. So inside D drive, we are having a folder with name Python workshop as triple V. So now let's open this folder, and inside VS Code, you will get to see that we are having a file app.py. Okay, so in last session, you have seen that we can use if-else statement for the conditional statement. So whenever your condition will become true, this if block will be executed. So this will be the syntax, like if, then just write simply a condition, and there are going to be some statements like S1 statement I have written, S2 and S3. Okay, so these all the statements will be executed only when this condition will become true. Okay, when this condition will be false, then this else block will be executed. Okay, so now we are having two statements like S4 and S5. So S4 and S5 will be executed only when the above condition is false. And these three statements S1, S2, S3 will be executed when the above condition will become true. But how many times these statements are going to be executed? Only one time. Okay, the above statements will be executed only one time. Now just consider a fact that we want to print hello only one time. So in that case, what we can do, just simply write print, and inside that print just write the statement as hello. So it will print hello only one time. We are very much familiar with this. Now let's run this program, and let's open the new terminal. Okay, so now we are on the terminal and we are at the same location in which we have this Python file. And to run this Python file, we have to write a command like python app.py. And you can see the result is hello. Now, what if we want to print hello two times? So you can simply write hello two times. Now, if you want to write hello, let's say three times, then we can simply put hello three times. Okay, this is under our limit. Okay, so we can write three times hello, such kind of statement we can definitely write. But now just consider about a fact that we want to print hello around 300 times, or let's say around 1000 times. So do you think that we need to write hello 1000 times? Is it possible for us? Just come up with your reply in chat. Is it possible for us to write hello 1000 times? Is it going to be a good practice? Yes, I'm waiting for your reply on the chat window. Are we going to write hello 1000 times? No, exactly. So everyone will be in a favor that we are not supposed to write hello 1000 times, because it will take a lot more efforts. It will take a lot more time to create such kind of application. Okay. So now if you want to repeat any statement, like we want to repeat this print statement multiple times, then what we have to do, we have to go with the concept of loops. Okay, so we have to go with the concept of loops. So for which purpose we are going to use loops? To repeat any statement multiple times. Okay, so I'm writing one point about loops, that for what purpose we are going to use the concept of loops: to execute statements repeatedly. Okay, to execute statements repeatedly, we are going to make use of the loop. So how many loop we are getting in the Python programming? So one loop is there which is while, and one loop is there which is for. Okay, we are getting only these two loops, while loop and one is the for loop. Yes, other programming languages are having one more loop. You might have studied in C, C++ or in Java programming, that they are having do while loop also. Okay, but in Python programming, we are having only these two loops. One is while loop and one is for loop. Okay, so now let's understand the syntax of the while loop. So first of all, just think of the fact that while loop and for loop are going to be execute your statements repeatedly multiple times. Functionality for both while and for are the same. Okay, while will also repeat your statements, and again for loop will also repeat your statements. Okay, the functionality is going to be same, right? So now let's understand the syntax of while loop. So the syntax of while loop is just similar as of if statement. For if statement we are writing like if, and then after it we are writing one condition, and after the condition we are writing some statements inside the if body. Okay, like I'm writing two statements s1 and s2. So this is going to be the same syntax for while. How? Instead of if statement you just need to write while. Okay, so instead of if just write while statement. Okay, so this will be the syntax of your while loop. Now what will be the way of execution of this entire code. How this code will be executed? So first of all, it will check for this condition. If this condition is true or if this condition is false. So if condition is true, then the body of while will be executed. Okay. When condition is true, then body will be executed. After body, it will not stop the program. It will again go at the condition. Okay. Then second time, again it will check the condition. If condition is true, then again these two statements will be executed. Now again third time this condition will be checked again, and if this condition is true, then again third time these statements will be executed. Now this thing will go on and on and on, up to how many times this loop will be executed until the condition is false. Okay, so when the condition is false, this loop will be terminated. Okay, then loop will be terminated only in a one case, when your condition become false. Okay, this is the only case when your loop is going to be stopped. Okay, so this is the same as compared to your if else. If you are writing if else statement, so in if you are writing condition, and there are two statements like s1 and s2. Now what will be the difference between while and if will check the condition only one time, and if condition is true, these two statements will be executed only single time, and after this execution your code will proceed ahead. Okay, so the control will come outside the if block. But what about while? After checking condition once, it will execute the body, and after the body, it will again come back to the condition. And if second time is condition is true, then definitely your body will be executed again. Okay. Now again third time, again fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, these statements will be executed repeatedly until this condition becomes false. Right. So now let's write a while loop in order to print hello 5 times. Okay, what we need, we have to print 5 times hello. So for that purpose we have to execute a loop 5 times, and in order to write a loop we need a variable. Okay, because we need to write a condition, and for which thing we have to write a condition, we need to write a condition for a variable. So I'm just initializing one variable a with value 1, and it will be considered as what? It will be considered as initial point or the starting value of our loop. Okay, so I have started my loop with value 1. Now, how many times we want to execute a loop? We want to execute a loop 5 times. So first time our loop will be executed for value 1, then second time for value 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Okay, so we have to execute a loop till 5. So all the values which are generating here will be less than or equal to the 5. So this will be our condition, that while a less than equal to 5, we have to print hello. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of any while loop. You have to do initialization. So this initialization will be considered as the starting point of your loop. Okay, so from where we have started our loop, from value 1, and what condition we are writing? A less than equal to 5. This means while a is less than equal to 5, this statement is going to be executed. Now let's dry run this program. So a will be initialized by 1, and just check the condition for first time. Okay, so it is going to check condition for the first time, like if 1 is less than equal to 5 or not, then definitely yes, 1 is less than equal to 5. Then first time it will print hello. Now after printing this hello, control will be again given to this condition. Now just try to answer that at second check, what will be the value of a? Second time when it is checking the condition, what will be the value of a? Just respond it on the chat. What will be the value of a when it is going to check at the second position, at the second time? What you think about the value of a? Like first time value of a is 1, and at the second iteration, when it is going to check condition for the second time, what will be the value of a? For which value the condition will be checked? Is it for 1 or is it for 2? Yes, the value of a will become 1 at the second iteration also. How? Because we haven't incremented the value of a. We haven't written any uh, increment operation or any plus operation or minus operation. So second time, this value of a will become 1 only. Okay, will be given 1. So second time, again 1 is less than equal to 5. So it will again print hello. Again for the third time, it will check value 1 only. So what do you think that how many times this loop should be executed? This loop will be executed only 1 time or 5 times, or this loop will become infinite loop? Yes? Infinite, exactly. This loop will become infinite loop, okay, because we haven't incremented the value of a. Okay, yes. So if you haven't implemented the incremented the value of a, then it will become an infinite loop. So after every print statement, we just have to increase the value of a. So how we are going to increase the value of a? You just have to put a statement like a equal to a plus 1. So first of all, it will do a plus 1 and it will assign the new value into the variable a. Now again, let's dry run this program. So a will be assigned with the value 1. It will be initialized by 1. First time it will check the condition like 1 less than equal to 5. So let me write the iterations. So first of all, a is 1, then it will check condition like 1 is less than equal to 5. Yes. So condition is true, then it is going to print hello 1 time. Now just after printing hello, what it will do? It will just add 1 into the a and it will assign that value into the a, right? So a initial value is 1. So here what we will execute 1 plus 1. So initial value of a is 1, then it will execute 1 plus 1, and this will be assigned into again variable a. So a will become 2. Now second time, condition will be checked for the value 2, right? So if a is 2, then it will check condition like 2 is less than equal to 5. Then again this condition is true, then body will be executed, then one more hello will be there on our screen, and just after printing hello, it will again execute this a plus 1. So what is the initial value? What is the value of a which we are getting? It's 2. Then it will add 1 into it and assign this value into the variable a. So 2 plus 1 will become 3. So a, we are having value of a as 3. So a is equal to 3. So for third iteration, it will check condition like 3 less than equal to 5. Yes. Then again, one hello will be displayed on the screen. Then value will become 4. Okay. Then at the fourth iteration, it will check 4 less than equal to 5. Then again, it will print hello for the fourth time. Then a will become 5. And again, at the next iteration, it will check condition like 5 is less than equal to 5 or not. Yes, then definitely 5 is less than equal to 5. Then again fifth time body will be executed, so it will print hello again 1 time, and after printing hello it will add 1 to the value of a, like 5 plus 1, a will become 6. Now check condition for the 6. So 6 less than equal to 5, condition is false. Then at the same time your loop will be terminated. Okay, so just answer on the chat how many times this loop has been executed. How many times this loop has been executed? 5 times or 6 times? How many iterations will be there? 5 or 6? Just respond on the chat. Yes, loop will be executed 5 times. But how many times the condition will be checked? How many times condition is going to be checked? Is it 5 times or 6 times? Yes. Condition will be checked 6 times. Okay. So for the 6th time, we are having condition false. And if condition is false, then loop will be terminated. Okay. Yes, exactly. You are getting it right. Okay. So now let's run this program and let's see what will be the output. So just save this and just visit your terminal and again run this command like python app.py. So you are able to see that we are having hello 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 hello we are having. Okay. Now what our task is, I want to print numbers from 1 to 5. Okay. Now just think of this fact that how we are getting the numbers. So numbers are being assigned into the variable a. First of all, value of a is 1. Then after the first iteration, we are having value of a as 2. Then after it, we are having a as 3, then 4, then 5. So instead of printing the value of hello, we are just going to print the value of a. Okay. So a will be initialized by 1. So first time it will print a as 1. Then in second iteration, it will print value as 2. Then in third iteration, it will print value as 3. Okay. So now again, let's run this application. So I'm writing this python app.py. So now this time you can see we are having numbers 1 to 5. Okay, so our loop is executing 5 times. Okay, so this is how your while loop is going to work. Now, let's do some more stuff using this while loop. This time we want to print numbers starting from 5 to 1. Okay, we have to execute this loop in reverse order. Okay, now this loop is executing in forward direction, like it is starting from 1 and it is going up to the value 5. Now this time we want to execute this loop in reverse order. So we have to start this loop from 5 and we have to go up to value 1. So just initialize it by 5, like a is equal to 5. And what about condition? Do we need to write less than equal to 1 or greater than equal to 1? Yes, please come up with your replies. Do we need to write less than equal to 1 or greater than equal to 1? Please respond on the chat. Yes, exactly, Aman. We have to write greater than equal to, because all the numbers which are being generated, like if number is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so all the numbers are greater than equal to 1. Either they are greater than 1 or they are equal to 1. Okay. So now, in order to go in the reverse direction, like in order to go starting from 5 and to go up to 1, we have to decrease the value of a, right? So in order to decrease the value of a, we need to write a equal to a minus 1. Okay, so it will start from 5 and it will go up to the value of 1. Now just run this application and you can see we are having numbers, right, generating from 5 and goes up to the value 1. Okay, so this is how your while loop is going to be executed. So for your reference, I'm writing this while loop into this file. Okay, so I'm saving this file as notes.txt so that you can take reference from this file. Okay, so I have written this notes.txt, right? Now let's do some more stuff, like now I want to print even numbers between 1 to 20. Okay, I want to print even numbers, right, starting from 1 to 20. So we have to initialize our loop from value 1 and up to which value we need to execute, like a less than equal to 20. Okay, so we are starting our loop from 1. This is our starting point and this is our ending point. This means our loop will be executed up to 20. Now we need to increment this like a equal to a plus 1. But what if we will print value of a like this? What will happen? So it will print all the numbers starting from 1 to 20, right? So you can see on the console, we are having all the numbers starting from 1 to 20, but we need only even numbers. So we all know that what are even numbers? The numbers which are divisible by 2. So in order to execute this print statement, we need to write a condition that if a number is divisible by 2, then only we need to write this print statement. Okay. If the number is not divisible by 2, then this means we don't need to execute this statement. So in order to execute this print statement, we need to write a condition. So how we are going to check if a number is divisible by 2 or not? So we are going to make use of the modulus operator. So it will calculate remainder by 2, okay? And if that remainder is 0, right? If that remainder is 0, then this means what? We have to print that number. And when dividing any number by 2, if modulus is not 0, then just simply don't print that number, okay? So it is definitely okay to use if statement inside a loop, okay? You can definitely make use of if inside a loop statement. So first value of a is 1. So now 1 modulus 2 is not 0, then it will not print the value of a. So at the second iteration, value of a will become 2. Then 2 modulus 2 is 0. Yes, definitely 2 mod 2 is 0. Then it is going to print the value of 2. Now at the third iteration, a will become 3. So 3 modulus 2 is not 0. Then this means this print will not be executed for 3. Now again for the value 4. Now 4 modulus 2 is 0. Then this print will be executed. Okay. So this print will be executed only for this condition. And when this condition will become true, whenever our number is divisible by 2. Now I'm again running this program. Now just look at the output, what we are getting. Okay, so we are having only the even numbers displayed on our screen, like 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, now just try to answer it, how we are going to print odd numbers. Yes, how we are going to print odd numbers. Yes, please come up with your replies. If we want to print odd numbers, then what we have to do? What thing we need to change? Yes, in place of 0, we use 1, right? Because if you are having any odd number, so when you are dividing that number by 2, you will get a remainder 1. Either you can compare it with remainder value 1, or you can also write this condition is not equal to 0. Okay, so for all the values of a, when we are dividing it, okay, by 2, and if modulus is not equal to 0, then this means what? Number is not divisible by 2. And if number is not divisible by 2, then this means what? Number is odd number. Okay, so now let's again run this application, and you can see this time on our screen we are having all the odd numbers. But we can do one more thing. There is one more way to create this program, and in that way we don't need to write this if condition, right? In that method we don't need to write this if condition. How we can make such kind of program? We all know that if we want to print even numbers from 1 to 20, then our first even number will be 2, right? And the second even number is 4, then third even number is 6. This means all the numbers which are having gap as 2, okay? All the numbers which are having gap as 2, then this means what? These numbers are the even numbers starting from 2, and just increment them by the frequency of 2. Right now we are incrementing number only by 1. So instead of incrementing by 1, we can increment them by 2. So just start your loop from the value 2 and just write a equal to a plus 2. So after 2, it will give us a value 4. After 4, it will give us 6. Then after 6, it will give 8, then 10, then 12. Okay, so this time we are not supposed to write this if statement because it is guaranteed that every time the value of a is going to be an even number. How we are making this thing possible? Because we are starting a from 2 and we are just incrementing this value of a by 2, right? So first time a is 2, second time a will become 4, third time a will become 6. Then there is no need to write the condition again. Okay, so without writing condition, we are just writing a loop. Now again, I'm just writing this statement. Yeah, so you can see again we are having the same result. So result is like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. So without writing if condition, we have implemented such kind of program. Now using the same concept without writing if condition, how we can print even, how we can print odd numbers? Yes. How we can print odd numbers without writing any condition using the same approach? Exactly. We have to initialize it by 1. Okay, you just need to manipulate its value. Okay, so just put a equal to 1 and this will increment by 2. Okay, so first of all, it will add 2 into the 1. So result will become 3. Then after 3, it will make your value as 5. Then next iteration 7. Okay, so now let's run this application and you will get to see that we are having odd numbers this time. Okay, right, starting from 1 and up to 20. Okay, so now let me put this loop inside notes.txt. Okay, so this is the syntax of the while loop. Now let's understand the syntax of for loop. Okay, so as of now we are very much familiar with the while loop. So we need 3 things to execute this loop. One will be your initialization, one will be the condition, and one will be the increment or the decrement statement. Okay, so for your practice, just try to implement a few logics like print. In your free time, just make use of the uh, while or for loop and just try to achieve these logics, try to implement these programs. Okay, so print even numbers between 40 and 1. Okay, this means in reverse order we have to print even numbers starting from 40 and we have to go up to 1. Now print odd numbers between 40 and 1. Okay, we have to print odd numbers in reverse order. Okay, and next program is print all the numbers between 1 to 30 which are divisible by 5. Okay, so this is the one logic which I request you guys to try. Okay, so print all the numbers between 1 to 30 which are divisible by 5. Like first value is 5, then we have to print 10, then again 15. All the values which are divisible by 5 between 1 to 30, we have to print them. Okay, I will give you this file notes.txt after the completion of this session. Okay, so that you can have a better idea of the concepts also. Okay, so now let's understand the syntax of for loop. So now if you want to execute a for loop, then you need to write a for keyword. Then after this for keyword, you just have to write what? A variable. Okay. See, for our while loop, we are declaring variable outside the while, like a equal to 1. Then after the variable declaration, we are writing our while statement. But if you are using for loop, so you need to write this for keyword, and after the for, you have to mention the variable name. Okay, you need to declare the variable. Okay, let's say I'm declaring variable like a, And I hope in last session you guys might have seen one operator that is membership operator, like in. Okay, so this in is a membership operator, and when you are making use of for loop, then you are not supposed to write initialization by yourself. You don't have to write condition, and also you don't have to write increment or decrement statement. Okay, let me write a point. In case of for loop, we don't have to write what thing? First of all, initialization. We don't have to write initialization. We don't have to write condition. And also we don't have to write increment or the decrement statement. But in case of while loop, we need to write these three things compulsorily. We need to write initialization, we need to write condition, we need to write increment and decrement by ourselves. But in case of for loop, we are not supposed to write these all the things by ourselves. We just have to mention the starting value and the ending value for the for loop. Okay, so this means we just have to pass starting, we just have to pass the starting and the ending value. Okay, you just have to pass these two values. One will be your starting value and another will be the ending value. So it will execute your loop starting from the starting value and go up to this ending value. How we are going to pass these two values? One will be starting and one will be ending. So the syntax of for loop will be like for variable in, and you have to call a function whose name is range. Okay, you have to call this range function, and inside this range function you need to pass two values, one for the start and one for the end, right? Like if you want to execute a loop starting from 1, and if you want to go up to like value 6, or like you want to go up to 10. Okay, so if you want to execute this for loop like 10 times, then I'm writing this 1 comma 10. In order to execute this loop 10 times, I'm writing the starting value as 1 and ending value as 10. Now what will happen? If you're writing ending value as 10, then it will execute your loop up to 9 only. Okay, so you have to pass a value greater than up to which you have to execute the loop. Okay, if you want to execute this loop 10 times, then ending value should be 11. Okay, so it will take a value which is 1 greater than your ending point. If you want to execute your loop 5 times, then you need to pass a value 6. Okay, and if you want to execute this loop 100 times, then you have to pass a value 101, right? Let me show you one proof. Okay, so I have given one starting value and one ending value, and just open the body of the for loop, and inside the body of for loop I'm printing the value of a. So it will start from 1 and it will go up to the value equal to 9. Okay, and see, we are not supposed to write initialization, condition and increment or decrement statement by ourselves. Okay, we are simply not supposed to pass these values. We just have to pass the starting value and the ending value. That's it. Okay, now let's run this program. I'm again executing this command python app.py. So now this time you can see the output. Your loop has been started from 1 and your loop is being terminated at the value 9. Okay, so if you want to execute your loop 10 times, then we must pass a greater value than 10. Like I have to give the value 11. So if you are passing the value 11, then it will stop your loop at 10. If you are passing value as 5, then it will stop your loop at 4. Okay, so you just have to pass a one greater value than how many times you want to execute your loop. Okay, so I'm passing this value as 11. So this time your loop will be executed 10 times, right? Starting from 1 and it will execute up to 10. Okay, so you can see Your loop has been started from 1 and we are having loop executed till 10. Okay, so this is the syntax of for loop. Okay, so this is how for loop will be implemented in Python programming. Yes, the syntax is definitely new as compared to other programming languages. Like if you have seen for loop in C programming or in C++ or in Java programming, so they are having some other kind of syntax. Like we have to pass first of all initialization, then condition, then increment or decrement statement. Okay, but if Python is concerned, then this will be your syntax of for loop. So for will contain a variable name, then write in operator, then call range function. And inside this range function, you have to pass values, comma separated. Okay. So one value will be your starting and one will be the ending. Okay. So if you are writing for loop syntax as, for example, for any variable in range a comma b, okay, for range a comma b, so it will start your loop from a. I'm writing any statement inside the body, like and it can be any print statement or it can be any logical thing. Okay, it can be any logical expression also, it can be anything, right? It can be you can write any statement like print statement or if else statement or any calculation if you want to execute them repeatedly. So starting point will be what, a, and ending point will be what, b minus 1. Okay, so this will be your ending point for the for loop. Starting point will be a and ending point will be the b minus 1. Okay, so this is how your for loop is going to be executed. So is it clear to all of you, this syntax of for loop? Yes, please come up with your reply on the chat. Yes, please reply fast. I'm waiting for your response. Is it clear to all of you? Okay, so now by default, this for loop is incrementing your values by 1. Okay, so we have just passed the starting and the ending value on this for loop. So by default, this for loop, okay, so by default, this for loop is incrementing the value only by 1. But what if we want to increment by 2, or what if we want to increment the value by 3 or by 4? So for that purpose, we need to pass a third value inside this range. And the third value will represent the amount of increment you want to pass. Okay. So if I want to increment the value by 2, then we need to pass the value as 2. Okay. So this means what? It will be started from 1 and it will go up to 11 minus 1. This means it will go up to 10 and it will increment all the values by 2. This means after 1 we will get 3, after 3 we will get 5, and it will give all the values, right, starting from 1 and it will increment by 2. So you can see we are having all the values incremented by 2, 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Okay, so let me write this into your text file. Okay, so first value is the starting value, second value is the ending, and loop will be execute up to ending minus 1, and third value will be considered as our increment step. Okay, so we are incrementing this by 2. What if we want to increment our loop by 3? Then we need to pass a value 3. And this time, suppose I'm executing this loop, let's say up to 20. So for that purpose, we have to pass 21. If you are passing 21, then loop will be executed up to the value 20. Now let's run this application. So this time you get to see that all the values are being incremented by 3. 1, 4, 7, 10. Okay. Okay, so this will be the syntax for the for loop. Okay, so now let's make some more programs using this for loop. Okay, so now we have to find out the sum of numbers starting from 1 to 10. Okay, what we have to do, find out sum of numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so we need to find out this, we need to find out the sum of numbers starting from 1 and it will go up to the value 10. So how we can make use of a loop in this program? So if you want to find out sum of the numbers starting from 1 to 10, then we need to write 1 comma 11, and by how much amount we want to increment. We have to increment by only 1. But what will be the logic of making this calculation happen? First time we are getting a number 1. Okay, so practically what we have to do, we just have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this sum will go up to the value 10. Okay, we need to add all these values. So first of all, 1 will be added to 2. Okay, so first of all, 1 and 2 will be added, and the addition of 1 and 2 will become 3. So this addition of 1 and 2 will be added by the value 3. So this means 3 plus 3 will become what? 6. Then 6 will be added to 4. The value will become 10. Then 10 will be added to 5. Then value will become 15. This 15 will be added to the value 6. Then it will become what? 21. Then this 21 will be added by 7. Okay. So this means, what is the logic behind this program? We have to add the new number with the addition of previous numbers. Okay, what we have to do, we need to add a new number of a series by the sum of what? Previous numbers, by the sum of previous numbers, right? So in first iteration we have to add 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, then the sum of 1 and 2 will become what? 3. So we are having sum of these, what? Sum of the previous numbers as this value 3, and this 3 will be added to the 3. So it will become 3 plus 3, what? 6. So this means the sum of the previous numbers is 6. Then we have to add a new number into it. So new number of our series is 4. Then just add 6 plus 4. So this means the series we are having sum of all the numbers up to the value 4 is 10. Then we have to add 5 in this value 10. Then value will become 15. Okay, then we have to add 6 into the previous number sum. Okay, so when your loop is executing for the first time, okay, when your for loop is executing for the first time only, then we are getting this 1. We are not having the value 2, right? So we just have to follow a logic that we just have to add the previous sum with the new number. Okay, so when your loop is executing for the first time, we are having only the new number, that is 1. We are not having any previous sum. So we will do one thing. If we have to add this previous sum initially, then we will take the previous sum as 0. Okay, this means when you are having the first number of your series, then sum of all the numbers initially will be 0. So I'm taking one sum variable and just initialize it by 0. Why I have taken the value 0? Because in first iteration, we are having the value 1. That is going to be the first number, first new number of our series. Okay, what our series looks like: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up to 10 is our series. So we have to add this new number with the previous sum. But if you are having this first iteration, then you are having only the first number. We are not having any previous sum. So for that purpose, I have initialized this sum variable by 0. Now just add the previous sum, which will be inside this sum variable, and add the new number. So this new number will be assigned to the variable a. So just write sum plus a and assign the same value into the sum, so that in next iteration we will get the updated sum value. Now let's dry run this logic. Okay, so to dry run this logic, we have to initialize this sum by 0. So this sum will be initialized by 0. A will be started from the value 1. Now what will it do? It will execute this plus statement, which will be like sum plus A. So you need to write 0 plus 1. Okay, so it will execute this logic, which is 0 plus 1, and assign this 0 plus 1 into sum only. Okay, so in the first iteration, sum will become 1. Now, in the next iteration, a will become 2. Now, again, this statement will be executed like sum plus a. Okay, so that will be sum plus a. So you need to write the sum value as 1. Okay, so we will get the value of sum as 1 and a will become 2. So it will execute this logic as 1 plus 2, because in the first iteration we have got the sum as 1, right? So in the next iteration, sum will become 1 and a will become 2. So there will be 1 plus 2. And this 1 plus 2 value will be assigned into the sum. Okay, so the sum will become what? 3. Now in the next iteration, a will also become 3, sum is also 3, then this will be executed like sum plus a. So sum is what? Value 3 and a is again 3. Then it will execute 3 plus 3 and assign this value again into the sum. So in the third iteration, we are having 3 plus 3 as 6. Okay, and now again for the next iteration, a will become 4 and latest sum value is 6. Then it will add 6 plus 4. So 6 plus 4 is what? 6 plus 4 will become 10. So the latest sum value we are having is 10. Then in every iteration, it will just add the previous sum with a new number and it will assign that sum into the sum variable only. Now, when this loop has been completed, we have to print the value of the sum. Okay, so now just print the value of sum, right? So this sum will display the summation value of the number starting from 1 to 10. Why I have written this print outside the loop? Because we want to print this statement only a single time. What will happen if we write this print inside the loop? Then it will execute this print statement multiple times. So it will print the intermediate values which we are getting. Like first value we are getting is 1, second value is what? 3. Then we are getting value as 6, then 10, then 15, then 21. Then we will get such kind of values. Okay, so we need only a final sum to be displayed on the screen. So that's why I have written this print statement outside this for loop. Now let's run this Python file, python app.py, and you will get to see that we are having result as 55. Okay, so how this result has arrived to us? By executing this loop multiple times. Okay, so this is the logic behind adding all the numbers starting from, let's say, 1 to 10. Okay, so what simple logic we are following? We are just adding a new number with the sum of the previous numbers. Okay, so the sum of previous numbers will be assigned into the sum and we just have to add a new number. And to update this sum in the next iteration, we have assigned this value into the sum variable only. Okay, so that's the simple logic behind this program. Okay, so I have mentioned this logic in your notes.txt file. Okay, so all of you got this logic of adding numbers? Yes, if you are having doubt, then you can definitely ask. All of you got this concept? Okay. Now, we have to take a user input. Okay. Have you guys seen how to take user input in last session? Yes, please. Have you seen user input? Please reply on chat. Have you seen user input yesterday or not? Okay. So this time we have to take a user input, and let me write a problem statement first. So what program we need to create? Okay, we need to create a program to find out the factorial of a number. Okay, so take a user input and calculate its factorial. Okay, so now what about factorial? How a factorial is being calculated in mathematics? If you want to calculate factorial of 4, then we have to multiply all the values, right, starting from 4 to the 1. Like we have to write this multiplication as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, this is how 4 factorial should be calculated. If the number is 7, then we need to calculate a value like 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 then into 1. Okay, we need to write this kind of logic. Okay, or we can multiply we can multiply these numbers in forward direction also. The result is only going to be the same. Now if you are multiplying these numbers as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, then result will also become same. Okay, because you are writing multiplication. Okay, so if you multiply like 7 into 6 or you are writing 6 into 7, the result is going to be only the same. Okay, so this means what? Again, we need to run a loop. So first of all, let's take a user input. So if you want to take a user input, then we need to write one int function, and inside int you need to write this input, and just put a message like enter a value. So user is going to enter a value. Okay, and just assign it into a variable like n. Now inside are this sum logic, what we are doing, we are just adding all the numbers from 1 to 10. Like we are adding all the numbers 1 to 10. Now if we want to calculate the factorial of 10, then what we have to do, we have to multiply them. Okay, for the 10 factorial we have to multiply all the numbers starting from 1 to 10, right? So what we have to do in order to calculate factorial, right now we are adding all numbers from 1 to 10. Now for factorial we just have to multiply, right? So you can just multiply all the numbers from 1 to 10. But if you are performing multiplication, then just don't initialize this variable by 0. Just initialize it by 1. If you are initializing it by 0, then whole multiplication will become 0. Now, for the purpose of code readability, we are not calculating sum here. Okay, we are just calculating factorial. So for that purpose, we can change the variable name. Okay, so that our program can become more readable. Like in this program, logic is totally fine. You will get the correct result, but for the purpose of readability, we will rename the variable like to, you can rename this variable to f, or you can give name like fact, or you can give name as factorial. You can give any name. Okay, that is related to your factorial. But this time we are executing loop up to 10. So every time your program will calculate factorial of 10 only, but we have to calculate factorial of a number which is given by the user. So we have assigned that value into the variable n. Okay, so we have to execute our loop n times. Why? Suppose if user has given a value 4, then we need to multiply few numbers like 1 2 3 4. If user has given a value 6, then we have to multiply all the values up to 6. If user has given a value 10, then we have to multiply all the values up to 10. Okay, so this means we have to execute a loop up to the number which is given by the user. So the number which has been given by the user is being assigned into the variable n. So do you think we have to pass this n or something else? Is it okay? I was having a network drop. Again, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. What do you think? Is it correct or not? 1 comma n to execute this loop n times. Yes, please come up with your replies. I'm waiting for your response. In order to execute this for loop n times, do we need to write n or something else? If I'm writing n, then it is correct or not? Yes. Okay. Yes. So it's not correct, because if you are writing n, then it will be executed for n minus 1 value, right? If the value of n is 5, then it will execute your loop up to 4. Then if n is 6, then your loop will be executed up to 5. So what we have to pass? We have to pass n plus 1. Okay. Now this time your loop will be executed n times. We have seen earlier that if you are writing 11, then your loop is executing up to 10. If you are writing 6, then your loop is executing up to 5 times. So if you want to execute this loop n times, so we have to pass a value n plus 1. Okay. So now the logic of factorial is some way similar to the logic of the previous program, in which we are adding all the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so previously we are adding all the numbers, but this time we are just multiplying all the numbers. Okay, but one more change is there. We are just taking the user input. Okay. So now let's run this application and let's see what will be the output of this program. Okay. So I have executed this program, and you can see the message which we are passing, like enter a value, will be displayed by this executor. Okay. So enter a value. So I'm writing one value as 4. So you can see we are having factorial of 4 as 24. Okay. Now again, enter a value. I'm writing one value as 5. Then you can see the factorial of 5 is 120. Again, let's run this application, and I'm giving a value 6. Then it is printing the factorial as 720. Okay. So this application is calculating factorial of a number which has been given by a user. So we have taken a user input, and we have assigned that user input into the variable n, and we have passed 1 comma n plus 1. So let me write this logic into the nodes.txt. Okay, so this is a program for finding out the factorial. Now let's come to the next logic that we have to implement. That take a user input. This program is like take a user input, and what we have to do, and print its table. Okay, we have to print its mathematics table. Like if user has given a value 2, then we have to print the table of 2. If user has given a value 3, then we have to print the table of 3. The entire table in which you have seen that table in your childhood, like 2 into 1 is equal to 2, and another is 2 into 2 is equal to 4, and we have to print the same thing up to the multiple of 10. Okay, we have to print the same result up to the multiple of 10, like 2 into 10 is equal to 20. Okay, so we need to make such kind of a program. So just take a user input and we have to print its table. So just try to answer that how many times we have to execute this loop. We have to execute this loop n times the user has given a value, or we need to execute this loop 10 times. Yes, please come up with your reply fast. How many times we have to execute a loop for this calculation, for this specific program? Do we need to execute this loop n times or the 10 times? N means what? A value which has been given by the user. Okay. Yes, please come up with a reply. How many times we want to execute this loop? N or 10? Yes, we have to execute this loop 10 times. Okay, because we have to start multiplication from 1 and it will go up to the multiple of 10. So we have already taken a user input. Okay, yeah, we have already taken this user input, and that input has been assigned into the variable n. And now let's execute a loop like for I in range, and range will be started from 1, and to execute this loop up to 10 we need to write 11. Okay, so for I in range 1 comma 11, so our loop will be started from 1 and it will go up to the value 10. Now just look at the output. We need to print this output multiple times. So this means we need to put a print statement inside this loop. Now at starting, what we have to print? The number itself. If the number is 3, then we have to print all the starting values as what? As 3. Okay, if we have to calculate the table of 5, then starting value will be printed as 5. Then this means for which number we have to print the table? For the number n. So we have to pass the number n as the first value. Now again run this application and you will see this message is being appearing like enter a value. I'm entering 2. So you can see in starting we are successfully printing the value of 2. And now after this 2, what we have to print? We have to print the symbol of the multiplication. Okay, so in order to print this symbol, or one more thing with value n, just put one comma over this. Okay, and write your second value. And what we have to print as a second value? The multiplication symbol. You can print star, or you can also print the x. Okay, so now first of all it will print the value of n, then after it will print x as a multiplication symbol. Now again I'm running this program and just try to look at the output. Enter a value. I have entered the value as 2. So you can see we are having 2 into 2 into 2 into in every line. Now what after the multiplication sign? So after this multiplication sign, what value we have to print? First time we have to print 1, second time we have to print 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to print the value of I, because there is one variable I which is executing our loop 10 times. So first of all, I will have a value 1, second time I will have value 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Then it is definitely okay that we are going to print the value of I. So first time n is going to be the fixed value. Okay, for every iteration n will be the fixed number, right? If n is 2, then for every iteration it will print 2 into, then first time it will print 1, Then in second line, it will print 2 into 2. Then in the third line, it will print 2 into 3, right? Now let's again run this file. Now let's enter a value. I'm entering a value as 2. So you can see we have successfully created this kind of message like 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3. And after this, I'm again writing one value which is 5. Now you can see 5 into 1, 5 into 2, 5 into 3. We are having such kind of values. Okay. Now, after printing the value of I, what we have to display? We have to display this equal symbol. So just put this equal symbol into a string, into double quotes. So whatever you write in double quotes, it will be displayed as it is. Okay. So first of all, n will be displayed. After this, x will be displayed. Then I will be displayed. Then after I, this equal will be displayed. And after this equal, what we have to find out? We just need to print the result, which will be calculated as the multiplication of n and I. Okay. So just calculate a value n into I and just print its value. Okay. So I have printed the value like n multiplied by I. Now again run this program. So it is asking to enter a value. I have entered the value as 3. Okay. So you can see we are having the table of this number. Again, I'm running this program. I'm entering the value as 2. Then it will give the table of 2. Again, I'm running this program and I'm giving a value 5. Then this time you can see we are having table of 5. Okay. So this is how we have displayed the table of any number using the concept of for loop. So let me copy this program. Okay. Yeah. So is this logic clear to all of you? Okay. So I hope you all guys have understood this concept. Just give me 2 minutes. There is some issue with internet connectivity. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay, so let's continue further. I hope you might have understood this while loop and the for loop. Okay, so I'm just erasing this entire code. Yeah. Now let's focus on a new thing which we have to see. Like just consider you are having one integer value or a one any kind of value. So in order to store that value, we will declare a variable. Okay. So that's the basic need of a variable, that if you are having any value, then we have to store that value into a variable. So I am having a variable A and who is having a value 6. So for one value, we have declared one variable. Now for two different values, let's say we are having one more value as 4. So for this value 4, we have to declare one more variable like b is equal to 4. And again, for one more value, like I'm having another value as 16. So to store this third value, we need a third variable like c equal to 16. So what we have seen, for one value, we need one variable. For two values, we need two variables. For for three values, we need three variables. Now, it is definitely okay if you are having three values, then we are having three different variables. But what if we are having 1000 values? So, is it possible for us to declare 1000 variables? Definitely no. Okay, it is not likely to create 1000 variables just to store 1000 different values. Okay, so now we need a such kind of thing in which we can store multiple values all together. Okay, so till now we are only aware of a fact that we are having a variable, and that variable is going to have a single value only. So for each value, we have to create a different variable. Let's say for two values, we have to create two variables. For 100 values, we have to create 100 variables. But for any real time application, it will not be feasible. Okay, just to create that much amount of variables. So if you want to store multiple values, okay, so in that case, we will make use of collections. So in Python programming, we are having one concept of collections. So for what purpose collections will be used? So these these things which are being known as collections are used to store multiple values all together. Okay, so collections are used to store multiple values, or you can say multiple elements together. Okay, so this is the use of a collection. Okay, if this Python programming is being considered, okay, so if this Python programming is being considered, then we are having four major types of collections. What are these types of collections? So first of all, we are getting a collection that is list. Another collection which we are having is this tuple. One more collection is there which is known as set, and one more is there which is known as dictionary. Okay, so basically these all the things are being referred as what? As collections. All these four things are being used to store multiple elements in a single entity. Okay, so if you want to store multiple values, you can either make use of list, you can make use of tuple, you can make use of set, or you can make use of dictionary. Okay, so this concept of collections will be used to store multiple values together. Okay, now let's say I want to store let's say 10 values. So one way of storing them is to just declare 10 variables. But instead of 10 variables, you can make use of either list, you can make use of tuple, or a set or a dictionary. Okay, so now let's first explore something about this list. So basically, all these things are used to store multiple values together. Okay, so this thing is same for list, tuple, set, and dictionary. But if you want a basic implementation of any collection, if you want only the basic things, most basic type of collection is like your list. Okay, so list is like a vanilla flavor in the ice creams. Okay, all these are having their own flavors, like one is mango flavor, one is having orange flavor, one is chocolate flavor, and this list is of vanilla flavor. This is the most basic vanilla type of collection in Python programming. Okay, if you want a most basic functionality of a collection, then you can go with list. Then this means what? Tuple, set, and dictionary are having a lot more extra features, a lot more extra terms and conditions in order to use them. But if you want the most basic type of collection, then list will get your job done. Okay, if you are not able to think that either we have to use tuple, a set, or a dictionary, then definitely you can go with the list collection. So list is the most basic type of collection. Okay, list is the most basic type of collection that we can use. So this means tuple, set, and dictionaries are also a type of collections, but they are having their own specific properties. They are having their own specific features. If you are not in need of those such specific properties and features, you need a simple type of collection in which you can directly only can store the value, and that's it, you are getting your job done. Then list is for you. Okay, then you can definitely go with the list. Now let's see how we can declare a list. So if you want to declare a list, then you just have to write square brackets, and inside the square brackets just pass your values comma separated. And it is not necessary that all the values have to be the same data type. Okay, it is not necessary that all the values should be of same data type. They can have different types also, like I'm assigning one string value, I'm assigning one float value, I'm assigning one boolean value. So you can see in our list we are having different kind of values. Few are integers, one value is string, one value is float, and one value is boolean. And you can assign this complete list into a variable. Let's say I have assigned this list into the variable a. So you can see instead of declaring multiple different variables, we have just defined one list, and we have assigned this entire list into the variable. Now, this list is similar to the array. If you have seen C language or C++ language, then they are having one concept of array, right? So this list is similar to the array, which you have seen in C programming or in C++ programming, if you have seen terms and conditions applied. Okay, right? So this list is similar to the array in C, C++, and in Java. Okay. Now let's print this entire list. So in order to print this entire list, we just have to call this print function and pass the value of a. Now just run this application and you will get to see that on the console you are having this complete list displayed. Okay. Now it is not necessary that every time we have to access this complete list. Okay. It is always a real-time case that we want only a single value from this list, or we want only two values from this list. Then how we can get the values from this list? Let's try to see that point. Okay, so we are having this list, and every element of this list will have an index number. Okay, and that index number will start from 0. So this means this value 10 is at index 0, 20 is at index 1. Index is just like a position of your element. Okay, so every element is going to have a index number, have an index number. So first element will always have index 0, then index 1, then index 2, and it will continue so on. Now what if we want to get the first element of our list? So for that purpose, just write name of your list and put square brackets, and inside square bracket pass your index number. For first element, we have to pass index as 0. So A of 0 will become the first element, will give you the first element. So this A0 will give the value 20. So let me show you this. A0 will give, sorry, 10. Okay. A0 will give a value which is 10, the first element. Now let's run this program and you can see, first of all, A is displaying this entire list and A0 is displaying your first value, which is 10. Now for the second index, what we have to do? For second index, you have to write A of 1. For the third value, you need to write A of 2. And for the next value, you have to write A of 3. Okay, so this is the first, second, third, and fourth value from our list. Okay, so you can see we are able to get all the elements of this list. Okay, so this is how you can make use of list in order to store your multiple elements all together. So when you are creating a list, you are not required, you are just simply not required to declare multiple different variables. Just assign a list into a single variable, and using that variable and using the index number, we can access a specific value. Okay, so is this thing clear to all of you? Just try to respond on the chat. Okay. Okay. So Abhishek sir, are you there? Rahul Verma, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Yeah. Actually, I was told to conclude this session up to 45, uh, 15
Okay.
minutes earlier.
Okay. No
So,
problem, sir. No problem at all.
yeah. Okay, I think you are having one more session from 4 p.m. I was told by Abhishek sir.
Okay, sir. Let me confirm with the sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. I talked to the sir, and
Yeah.
he will like, confirm about the conclusion of the session.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for this
Yeah.
wonderful session.
Okay.
And now I would like the participants, if they have any kind of query or problem, they can directly ask to the sir on the chat section. Or if you don't have any problem or queries, we can end the session from today. And at the last, from Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya and also from Kaushal 4.0 team, we will be thanking you to come for this session.
Thank you,
And
Rahul.
great
Thank you,
to
team.
have you meet you, sir.
Okay. Is there any
Guys, you can
doubts?
ask questions on the chat section if you have any kind of query. We are happy to answer you.
I think no one is having any doubt. Please feel free to ask any kind of doubt you are having. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I hope you guys have learned few things related to this Python technology. It has been very great in order to work with you guys. Okay, you have responded very well. Okay, so thank you, Rahul. Thank you, all the students. Okay, it has been very great.
Thank you, sir. And
Okay,
sir, if you have any kind of notes or anything else, because sometimes students ask for
yeah.
them, so sir, please provide us so that we can share with the students.
Actually, I was having this file notes.txt. I can share you this
Okay,
file.
sir. Guys, we will be sharing the notes and other recordings. If you need that recordings after the session, you can also watch them alone. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
guys, everyone from Shiveshna Vidyavit Vishwadhar and Kaushal 4.0 team. And we'll be concluding this session from today.
Okay, I have just uploaded the file. You can find it on your chat window.
Okay, sir.
Notes.
I'll
Okay,
see. Yes,
so
sir.
thank you guys. Thank you all of you. Okay, have
Thank
a
you so
great
much,
day.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Have a good day.